$90,000 a year sounds like the salary where money problems should finally disappear. But after taxes, retirement, and health insurance, Cody does not have $7,500 to spend each month. In this model, he has about $5,352. Put that same paycheck in Cleveland, and he finishes the month with roughly $1,244. Put it in Austin, and the cushion falls to $740. Put it in San Francisco, and the exact same lifestyle runs about $675 short. Same worker, same salary. 3 completely different lives. So what does $90,000 actually look like in America in 2026? Let's follow every dollar from the job offer to the bank account, then see what one expensive decision can do to the whole plan. First, some context. The median full-time worker earned about $1,251 per week in the second quarter of 2026. $90,000 a year is about $1,731 per week. That is roughly 38% above the median. It is a strong salary, but it is not a blank check. For a clean comparison, Cody is single, has no children, works a W-2 job, and receives employer-sponsored health insurance. He contributes 6% to a traditional 401k, claims the standard deduction, and we reserve 3% of gross income for state and local taxes. That 3% number is only an illustration. Your actual result changes with your state, filing status, benefits, tax credits, and payroll choices. This is an educational model, not a personal tax calculation. The offer letter says $90,000. Divided by 12, and gross monthly pay is $7,500. Before taxes, 6% goes to Cody's traditional 401k, $450 each month. If his employer matches it, that choice may also unlock compensation that never appears in his checking account. The 2026 employee contribution limit is $24,500, so Cody is nowhere near maxing the account. He is simply building the habit while keeping enough cash for today. Next is health insurance. The latest KFF employer survey puts the average worker contribution for single coverage at about $120 a month. But the premium is not the whole health budget. Among covered workers in plans with a deductible, the average deductible was about $1,886. Cody still needs cash for co-pays, prescriptions, and the part insurance does not pay. For 2026, the standard deduction for a single filer is $16,100. After the traditional 401k, modeled pre-tax health premium, and standard deduction, Cody's estimated federal taxable income is about $67,060. The first portion is taxed at 10%, the next portion at 12%, and the dollars above $50,400 enter the 22% bracket. That does not mean all of Cody's income is taxed at 22%. Only the slice inside that bracket gets that rate. Estimated federal income tax comes to about $789 per month.
Employee Social Security and Medicare add about $565 per month. Then our illustrative state and local reserve takes another $225. Now the paycheck is honest. $7,500 gross becomes approximately $5,352 of monthly take-home pay. That is still good money. The danger is treating the offer letter number like spendable cash. Now comes the category that can overpower almost every small money hack: housing. HUD's 2026 fair market rent gives us a consistent benchmark for recent mover rent in each market. It is not the cheapest apartment in town, and it is not a luxury penthouse. In Cleveland, Ohio, the one-bedroom benchmark is $1,058 per month. After rent, Cody still has about $4,294 for everything else. In the Austin metro, the one-bedroom benchmark is $1,562. Now the paycheck has about $3,790 left after rent. In San Francisco, the benchmark jumps to $2,977. After rent, Cody has only about $2,375 before food, transportation, utilities, debt, or medical costs. The rent gap between Cleveland and San Francisco is $1,919 every month. Over 1 year, that is $23,028. location alone can redirect more than 1/4 of Cody's entire gross salary. Now let's give Cody a transparent, realistic, non-rent budget. Utilities, internet, and the phone get $325. Food gets $650 for groceries, plus modest dining out. This is not daily delivery, but it is not a fantasy budget where every meal costs $2. Transportation gets $700. That can include a payment or depreciation, insurance, fuel, maintenance, parking, transit, and occasional ride shares. Housing and transportation together account for just over half of average household spending in the latest federal expenditure data. That is why these two choices matter more than a few subscriptions. We put $150 into a health sinking fund for deductibles, co-pays, and prescriptions. Personal and household spending gets $325. Debt minimums get $200. Travel and entertainment receive $350 because a budget that pretends life never happens usually fails. Another $350 goes to emergencies and irregular expenses, car repairs, annual fees, gifts, flights, or a bill that arrives at the worst possible time. Add those categories, and non-rent spending totals $3,050 per month. Put Cleveland rent on top, and Cody finishes with about $1,244 left. That surplus can build an emergency fund, accelerate retirement, pay off debt, or become a future home down payment. Put Austin rent on the same plan, and the cushion falls to about $740. Still positive, but now one repair, one medical bill, or one aggressive car payment can erase the margin.
Put San Francisco rent on the same lifestyle, and Cody is about $675 short every month. Nothing about his effort changed. Nothing about his salary changed. The cost structure changed the answer. That does not mean San Francisco is impossible. It means the expensive city version of $90,000 needs a different design. If Cody shares housing and cuts his personal rent by $1,000, the deficit becomes a small surplus. If good transit also lets him remove a car and reduce transportation by $500, his budget gains serious breathing room. One housing decision and one transportation decision can beat years of arguing about coffee. But there is another trap at $90,000. Lifestyle inflation. A nicer apartment adds $600. A newer car adds $500. Upgraded dining, delivery, subscriptions, and weekend spending add $400 more. That is $1,500 a month, $18,000 a year, gone before Cody feels rich. The raise happened once. The payments repeat every month. So before accepting a $90,000 offer, ask for the benefits sheet, not only the salary line. Check the employee health premium, deductible, employer retirement match, vesting schedule, paid leave, commuter benefit, and remote work policy. Then price the actual zip code. Include rent, renter's insurance, parking, utilities, and the commute. Calculate the full transportation cost, not only the loan payment. Insurance, fuel, maintenance, registration, parking, and depreciation all count. Capture the full employer match when the budget allows. Then build 1 month of essential expenses in cash before chasing a perfect emergency fund number. The Federal Reserve found that 55% of adults had 3 months of emergency savings in 2025. A cash buffer is not wasted money. It is what prevents a surprise from becoming high-interest debt. And when the next raise arrives, automate part of it before your lifestyle expands. If half of every raise goes toward investing, debt payoff, or cash reserves, income growth can become wealth instead of another monthly payment. So, what does $90,000 actually look like in 2026? It looks like about $5,352 per month in this baseline model. In Cleveland, that can create meaningful breathing room. In Austin, it can support a comfortable but intentional life. In San Francisco, living alone with a car can break the budget, while shared housing and transit can repair it. $90,000 is a strong salary, but the salary does not decide whether Cody feels wealthy. The distance between take-home pay and fixed monthly commitments does.